Hey guys, this is Brent Rice here at IGS Energy. Right now we're just about to put the cap on October and head into November, and it's kind of crazy that we're just about a month away from the beginning of meteorological winter, which starts on December 1st. So far this fall season has seen some extremes both in the warm direction and the cold direction. September started off the fall season on a really warm note. We actually saw a record warm September based on power-weighted CDDs, and most of the country came in well above average for the month. However, as we switched into October, we saw a bit of a flip, and some colder than average temperatures did move in for the western and central part of the US. Actually, some parts of the country there are seeing some of the coldest weather that they've ever seen in the month of October. But a lot of that cold has really struggled to move into the eastern part of the country. The eastern third of the US is probably going to run about 5 degrees above average for the month. Now, as we move into November, some of that cold does look like it'll finally make its way all across the eastern US. At least the first half of November right now is favoring some colder than average temperatures for us. Now, as we approach winter, a lot of people are starting to ask what we can expect for the upcoming winter season. And there's a lot of different things that we can look at in terms of forecasting for winter. But one of the most important things that I focus on are sea surface temperatures. And the reason for that is that sea surface temperatures historically have been shown to have strong correlations with temperatures not only here in the US, but really other parts of the globe. So there's a couple different regions that we focus on specifically. One of the first regions is the ENSO region, which is a focus of sea surface temperatures in the East Central Pacific Ocean. And there's two phases to that. There's the El Nino phase and the La Nina phase. And both the El Nino and La Nina phases have pretty strong correlations during the winter with temperatures here in the US. Now, unfortunately for us right now, we're seeing more mixed signals from ENSO. So we're not really in a La Nina and we're not really in an El Nino. We're more or less in ENSO neutral conditions. And that doesn't necessarily give us a great feel for what we could expect for the upcoming winter. But it is something we want to at least focus on because historically we've seen that when you are in those phases, there's a pretty strong correlation with temperatures here. Now, one of the other areas that I focus on as well is the North Atlantic Ocean. And temperatures out in the North Atlantic right now are fairly warm, running a little bit warmer than average, and that's more of a warmer signal for us for the winter, especially the eastern part of the country and up into eastern Canada. And the third region that I focus on for sea surface temperatures is the Northeast Pacific Ocean. Now, temperatures here are also running a couple degrees above average, and this is more of a colder signal for us. So if you were just to look at temperatures in that region, you would go colder than average, especially in the eastern half of the country. Now, there's a couple other things that we do for the winter, one of which is coming up with an analog forecast. Now, the whole idea behind analog forecasting is looking at some of the large-scale weather patterns that we have going on right now and trying to find historical years that also had those weather features and looking at what happened in those past winter seasons to try and give us an idea of what we might expect in this upcoming winter. So I went through that process and came up with my top analogs, and there are definitely a mix of signals out there. You definitely get some warmer analogs and some colder analogs, but there's a few more colder analogs than warm. So overall, an analog forecast would lean a little bit colder here in the eastern part of the country. And those analog forecasts take into account not only the things I just talked about, but a couple other signals as well that I don't really want to get into the details today. So overall, there's a mix of signals going into this upcoming winter. Definitely one of the harder winter seasons to forecast given the lack of really strong signals out there. But if I had to pick a direction, I'd probably go colder than average, just given that there's a few more colder signals than warmer signals out there right now. And when I say colder than average, I'd go colder than average in the eastern part of the country, probably still stay above average, at least over the western part of the country, over the southwest as well. So if you're looking for some colder than average temperatures, looks like we get some here in November, and we may end up with our first colder than average winter in several years now. So until the next forecast, this has been Brent. Shoot, I don't know what to say there. Should we just do an end?